There is one game I've been playing consistently since the beginning of the century. This game is called Entropia Universe, and the game still boasts a large community with dedicated players, and for good reason. Multiple graphic overhauls and working currently on a new overhaul in Unreal Engine 5. There's in-depth gameplay and an amazing, active community. In this guide I will teach you what makes Entropia Universe so great, its community so dedicated and playability so endless, and a very important keyword is investment. This is because Entropia Universe has a real cash economy, and for me this is incredibly important, as tying my own money to a game comes with a lot more focus and dedication. I could spend 1,000 hours in any other game and I will end up with nothing but a save file without any value that is gone when the game is uninstalled. And this is not the case for Entropia Universe and its main planet Calypso, which is also its greatest attraction. Every action you take is an investment or a gamble, depending on how you play the game. And this is also my main purpose for this video. I will try to teach you how to play the game like an investment. And I'm the right person for the job, as I did exactly the same in my early years. I would log on to play events and deposit money. I burned the money without knowing what I was doing, and I log off once it's all depleted. Luckily in the past, I did make some good investments along the way, like buying a ghost set, so I had a stable basis to build my current empire on. But first let's look at how a day in Entropia looks like for an average player like me. This will help you gain perspective of the variety of actions, the size of the world and its citizens. Every morning I wake up and make some coffee, while I prepare myself for the day. I check the website and write down the total value of my items. I use a spreadsheet to keep track of what I lost or earned the previous day. It's been slightly expensive, as I have been playing many events like the Summer Mayhem Assault and the Longtooth Migration events, which are costly. Luckily I also had some good days with a top loot of 1100 ped and a max profit of 1528.17 ped, so overall I'm still thriving. A ped is a Project Entropia dollar, and 10 ped is worth $1 American. I've been depositing some more, as there is so much money tied in auction, materials and ammunition, which I don't want to sell as I need them later. This way I don't have to wait for items to sell and keep doing what I do best. I clean up my storage. This is also the sole reason I need to deposit. Most items get stored depending on 3 factors: how much I need them, how much their market value or markup is, and how much I have of them. There is a fee to bringing items to auction, so I must make sure I have enough of them to make a profit. All the other items go directly into the scrapper. I check the auction to see how my items are doing as a dedicated crafter. I always have a range of items at the auction house for sale. Next, I rush to the construction machine, I complete any running projects and see what materials we will be needing today. My main goal is to make some R-Matrix BC-30 rifles, as I can both use them and sell them. Their efficiency is decent, and as a dedicated gun crafter I have plenty of blueprints and guns available. I noticed the main shortage lies in cumbrous ingots and metal mountings. Some extra putty couldn't hurt either, and metal mountings will be tough as I have a shortage in robot materials. So I may need to hunt those, but also have quite a low chance to craft them. The markup is nearly 150% on auction, so I may as well craft them myself. I put on an automatic craft for today, a filler craft to get metal residue, of which I will need a lot, and off I go. Automatic crafting is a new feature in the game that is absolutely life-changing, as players can now both craft and go out to do other activities. I use a mining map called Little Big Mining Log to see where I can find which materials with the highest chance. You can find links to it in the Entropia launcher. Using a teleporter, I jump to the nearest area I need to be for my early morning mining run. Mining is always the first thing I do. The area I jump to is owned by another player, and this player has a tax set to their region, so it will cost you some profit to mine here. Some regions won't have a tax set for mining, which is of course the primary choice, especially if you can mine the items you need. I use a small amplifier on the mining tool. This will help boost the mining nodes I find. I have a real friend who focuses on crafting mining amplifiers, which will help me mine faster and bigger. In turn, I provide him with the guns needed. I will explain all about amplifiers later in this video. Mining requires a few items, and if you never mined before, you can get them from the trade terminal or the starter packs from the store. You need a finder or detector, which will try to find a mining node in the ground. This requires survey probes, but universal ammo will also work. After a node is found, you will get a deed in your inventory. The material depends a lot on your finder. The search depth will at first be very low, and very common items will be found, like crude oil and listerium. But those will be just the items you need initially anyway, and both on the radar and visible in the ground you will see a node marker. You can then use an excavator to mine the resources. You will also need a refiner to refine the raw materials. On the planet Calypso you can only find two types, minerals and energy matter. On other planets, like Arcadia, you can also find treasure, but more on other planets later. I use the same mining map to track my findings and help me with my runs. There's two ways I conduct my mining runs. If it's a safe area, I simply keep walking and drop a probe every 100 meters. Then I come back later to mine them all up. Or when going to PvP areas or areas with a lot of enemies, I drop a probe, wait and mine the result. As soon as I leave the land owned by the player, I will be in hostile territory. But no worries, it's marked PvP, but in this area they cannot loot your body. I just need cumbres from here, which is a mineral. But in this case I will also look for energy matter since my oil supplies are running low, and these happen to be common in this area as well. I make sure the resource is marked on my map by opening the deed in my inventory, and this will also leave a timestamp. I do a quick run, overall not bad, a bit low hit percentage and usually it's between 20 and 37%. Unfortunately, in the lower area of this region, no cumbres was found. I decided to spruce things up a bit and do a second run with a higher amplifier. The nodes you find are instantly much higher, until running into a land with 10% tax, which is just silly as you effectively chase away people taking such a large cut. Especially if it's populated with low level and aggressive creatures. Eventually you get encumbered, but your refiner can do wonders for this, as refined materials weigh much less. While mining, I completed a mining mission on Blausarium, which is great as the rewards are massive skill boosts. The mining run was getting decent, but after 12 misses and about to get desperate, I hit a global on Dianum ore, a pretty rare ore with a high markup. And it was worth 176 ped, which was almost the worth of just the amplifier. Having a global on Goldstone the previous day in the same area, this was becoming a very good mining spot. With loaded pockets, I flew back to the teleporter. Overall, a good profit on the run. The automatic crafting was also complete and gave me some levels in engineering. I cleaned up my inventory, and with finding some sweet stuff as well, I could combine this with any fruit to make Nutrio bars. Nutrio bars have a massive markup, and already having 10 pet of this, it would be ripe for sale. They are used with pets, and in-game there are many ways to get those, by either taming or finding them in logboxes. Not feeding them will result in them not being able to play or do tricks. However, I do not do much with pets, nor do I need the Dynam ore, which is currently worth over 200 ped, so time to sell some of it. The markup value for Nutrio bars is nearly 200%, but you can also check if orders are available to instantly sell it. For neither of them there was an order. An order is placed by other players who offer a certain markup, usually a bit lower than the average. You can also join a trade channel, for example Cali Trade, which would help you to sell your items while avoiding the auction fee. I decided to sell a few items I don't need anymore. An Omegaton A103, it's a laser amplifier but I only use BLP at the moment. The amplifier had a nice markup of nearly 200 ped. And you can raise the opening bid slightly, but this will cost you a higher auction fee. If an item has low value, it's important to see to it that you have a large enough quantity, to ensure you lose as little as possible on the auction fee. I set it to 4 days with an opening bid of 164 and a buyout slightly below the rest. The diamond ore I set with a decent markup as well, somewhat averaging the price it's been sold for in the past. It's quite a big batch and people often need just a little, so that's a risk. Lastly, the Nutrio bars will give me about 7 pet profit. I also crafted some explosive projectiles which have some markup but not that much. A batch of around 100 pet will be just perfectly to quickly sell. Both Nutrio and explosive projectiles sold almost instantly, indicating that I could have gone a bit higher or an order was placed for that value. Placing an order can help you if there are none on the auction or you want a lower markup than it currently sells, but this will require a pretty hefty order fee. You can go to orders and then available and then look for the item you need. Using the double arrows you can quickly scroll. For example, I completed the Trooper Kill quest and can now upgrade my adjusted vigilante set to modified, which comes with more bonus. I need special items for this, including a level 10 blueprint craft high grade alloy. You can only order unlimited items. You set the markup in percentage, for example 140 markup is 140% of its value and the pet is reserved in the auction system. Just as with automatic crafting, this value doesn't show up in your items, so don't forget to count that in your calculations. The order will now be automatically going to you if someone places the corresponding item on the auction with a lower markup. All this time I've been automatically crafting explosive projectiles. These are my fillers. I need the metal residue each near success or success generates for my guns. I will explain the last part in a bit, but let's focus on what I'm constructing and how. The last successful construction gave me quite a bit of high hits, considering a normal explosive projectile blueprint 2 craft is only worth around 0.2 pet. And how I do that has everything to do with 3 elements. The quantity and condition slider, your own engineering skill, and for this blueprint that is the mechanical engineer skill, and the quality rating. Every blueprint you buy or find while crafting starts at the quality rating of QR1, which generates the least chance of success. To get that up, you need to craft that specific blueprint. And some people buy it directly at 100%, which is the max, to make sure they don't have to go through that process. Because going through the progress is guaranteed to lose money. But these 100 QR blueprints have a massive markup, which is pretty much equal to the money you lose when going through the process yourself of leveling it up. It's actually better to level it yourself, since you will also skill up the respective skill while doing it. At 95% success rate, you are maxed out. Then and only then can or should you play with the quality and condition slider. For me, there is no middle ground, either full condition or full quantity. 500 attempts will cost me exactly 100 pet. This 100 pet I need to get back. The success rate of going full condition now drops somewhere between 5 and 10% and maybe less if you are very unlucky. Of those, let's say depending on your engineering level, 33% are a success and 66% are a near success. That means 1 or 2 in 20 attempts will be a success. And it's not rare to see a screen filled with failed only. However, the value of the success is now much higher, 8 times higher, which still means you're set up for loss, as even with the best run you only generate 1/10 of the successes. This is somewhat considered global hunting. Your base value is much higher, thus so are the globals. Since you throw in so many attempts, you have a good chance it be globals. Automatic crafting is a little bit better in this case. You still see global swirls when you do, no matter where you are, but you see exactly how much you made in the end. In the first 40 crafts, I had a handful of successes, but after it warmed up, it generated more. Now all you have to do in those 500 attempts is to get to the 100 pet. Any good hit will tilt that balance in your favor, even non-globals, and even a 20 pet hit if the success percentage is decent. This run of 100 pet had the first 2 pages already generating more than the input when I sorted on value. All the others near success was bonus, having a profit of about 30 pet. Anyhow, I call this the filler blueprint. This is because I need the metal residue. You see it in the top left of the construction screen. This is exactly why I put it on condition and not quality. The residue is for me the main product, while the explosive projectiles are the byproduct. The guns I craft are mostly limited except one, my personal baby, the MAN DHX. All the blueprints with our matrix were obtained from the MindArk blueprint, except the BC30 I found on auction. It had 100 attempts, which is the max, and was exactly my level and costed me only 8 ped. The average markup for a single gun on auction. All the Armatrix guns are limited. A limited gun can never be repaired and it's gone after you use up its durability. It's marked with an L behind its name. Needlessly to say, you won't sell a gun if it's almost broken. You can, however, use residue to ensure its full durability. And this is incredibly important. Just like the gun, the blueprint also has the L, which means it's gone when the QR, or condition, in this case, is depleted. Limited blueprints have incredibly high success rate, but your skill still comes to play. For BLP engineer, I am just at the correct level to exceed the learning period, meaning I can craft at maximum success rate, being 95%, but for the BC40 however, I'm still 2.4 levels short and sit at only 85% success. For this also count, don't use limited blueprints you haven't mastered yet. Crafting the guns is very nerve-wracking. A failure is completely losing the full cost of the gun. The mats needed for one BC30 are exactly 13 ped. So a near success of 10 ped is bearable. Losing all mats is a massive pain. Those guns are not all for sale, but also for personal use, mainly because the efficiency with an amp is 64%, which is decent, while my backup is only 28.8%. Despite the insane difference in markup value, the limited gun will be much more viable than the unlimited gun. However, an unlimited gun can be repaired at the repair station. And I still use it to pull creatures from far away due to its way superior range and to hunt robots. The rest of the residue goes back into the MindArk to get some blueprints and nanocubes which I need for the explosive projectiles to repeat the cycle. This gave me a few new blueprints I didn't have yet, which goes into the books in my storage. To get started with blueprints, you can visit the technician and buy the basic blueprint, and later, if your storage runs over, some books to put them in. While mining earlier, I completed a mining quest. You can pick up mining quests at the Mining Guild representative, in Port Atlantis or, for example, Camp Corinth. At first, there will only be a few available, but they will become more as you level up. As you open the dialogue to hand in the quest, you see that the increase in skills is depicted in ped. This is because skills are an investment too. It's even possible to put your skills in an empty skill implant and sell them for a lot of money. This also counts for the explosive projectile blueprints. You can buy one from auction and realize you can't even make those yet at full success rate. And this is why the bulk of the money you lose leveling the blueprint to QR 100 goes into your skills. A major misunderstanding is that a real cash economy is made just to leech money, while there may be some, Project Entropia is not. You can have a bad run, or even a few, but I hope my tips can provide you with methods to nullify the end result. This does not at all mean you can't lose a lot of money on the game, but most of it remains in your hands. My miner sits currently at level 17, but my prospector is falling behind a bit. Choosing prospecting for 1.5 ped kicks my prospector level to 16.65. My prospecting increased from 2017 to 2145, which is quite the boost. This also means that a bit less than 150 skill points are equal to 1.5 ped, a division of 10. Most of the new quests I can't take yet due to the prerequisite quests, and once the quests get higher, the rewards increase exponentially. For example, Listerium 4, which I'm currently on, will grant me a whopping 30 ped in skill, which is 20 times more than the one I just got. Another way to get better is to do daily quests. Most towns have a daily terminal with challenges. This will help you get daily tokens. Tokens can be handed in at token traders, for example in Twin Peaks. Daily tokens can be handed in to get guns or tools with exceptional durability, meaning they won't break fast. Alternatively, you can save a long time for unique items with impressive skills. Combat tokens come from event bosses and quests all over the world. They are much easier to obtain and can be quite valuable as they have a high markup. They can be used for amplifiers and plates, which I will explain in a bit. And lastly, there are mayhem tokens which drop from nearly all events. Their primary use is strong buffs which can really enhance your gameplay on, for example, boss fights. or gain a massive boost in skill for a pretty long time. 3 quests take me to my favorite spot. It is an island with 2 teleporters, Odyssey's Landing and Fort Victoria. There are an immense amount of quests in that area, but most importantly, mining here gives me nearly all the resources I need. And hunting does exactly the same. The swamp is infested with prancers, snarks and trescarons. The snarks drop thyroid oil, which I will need for my metal rods and mountings. The trescarons drop animal muscle oil, and the prancers drop animal eye oil, which I need for my plastic rods. All vital ingredients for my guns. And no bullet can be wasted, as everything has real money value. I swallow an auto loot pill, which in a way is wasting money, but I got a lot from loot boxes and I'm ready to go. I can press V to go into first person mode and just click to shoot. Or use right click to lock on the target and outshoot. Or alternatively, just stay in third person mode, which in this case I will do. I shoot with an Armatrix BC25, which has quite decent efficiency, but surely I can boost this. Firstly, I attach an amplifier, which will add 20 damage to my min and maximum damage. But be aware when buying amplifiers, however, that the efficiency is higher than the gun and the total damage doesn't exceed the minimum damage of the gun. Else the rest damage is gone and you burn ammo less efficiently. The great thing about limited weapons is that they tier up fast, depending on the tier increase rate. This stat is very vital in determining the rest value, as when the durability is gone, the weapon is unusable. Currently the weapon sits at tier 2.45, which means I get 2 tier slots open. A limited gun tiers automatically, but an unlimited weapon or tool requires a lot of items to tier up. But this will also increase the markup value of the tool or weapon and thus can be sold for a higher profit later. For example, my mining finder can be tiered up, and this requires a lot of components, but will increase the value of the mining finder on the market. With 2 tier slots open, I can also add enhancers. And there are many types of enhancers, but I will use weapon damage enhancers. It lowers the efficiency slightly, but it makes the weapon incredibly powerful. Now if we look at my unlimited gun, this one sits at tier 4. The amplifier boosts the efficiency with nearly 10% and the damage a lot. Filling it up with enhancers makes it very powerful, but also incredibly expensive. However, despite the low efficiency, you will instantly see the creatures dropping more loot. This is because everything is calculated in the loot and is added to the loot pool. Armor decay, weapon decay, amplifier decay and ammo cost. How well a gun does that is exactly the efficiency we've been talking about. Guns with a high efficiency therefore have insane high markup on the market, which can be worth investing in because in the long run you will return it to yourself in your loot. And the best way to see this is when I let myself get hit by a Trescaron and do nothing to it, but I just drag it to a camp turret. The camp turret will shoot it down, yet I still receive shrapnel due to it hitting my armor. So in short, the value of the gun and the markup from a sale perspective is determined by a crucial factor, the efficiency, and this depicts how economically viable it is in hunting. In Entropia this is called playing eco. Low efficiency guns are expensive and will surely generate a loss. While I'm hunting I randomly global, and these are the projectiles I'm crafting. 98 ped makes 500 attempts totally free. The concept of burning more ped using an amplifier to up the base of the mining node does work exactly the same with hunting. Maximizing the damage done, even overkilling, especially on a rare mob or a high boss, is thus always worth it. You'd burn more to possibly gain more, but in doing so you slightly move the slider from playing eco to gambling. But if you were to hunt a common creature for a quest or without it dropping anything useful, you want to be as efficient as possible. For armor I have 2 sets. My first set is a ghost set, specifically designed for anti-beast. Most of the creatures will do impact damage, so this overall set is perfect and one of the first investments you should make. Because the markup is also affordable. Instead of amplifiers, you put plating on your armor. This will strongly boost your defenses even more. Tier goes to 10, and the more tier slots your armor unlocked, the more value your armor has. As counterpart, I bought a somewhat more expensive set, the Vigilante Adjusted set. This set is ideal versus players and robots, as they do mainly penetration damage, aka guns, and also the plating focuses on enhancing this. This set is needed for me to handle robots, which drop a whole different spectrum of the items I need for crafting my guns. Self-sufficiency is the only solution for me. The Ghost also has some tiers, so has defense enhancer sockets. Enhancers break randomly, so make sure to get some. The Vigilante set also has an impressive set bonus. 20% increased dodge chance and 20 percentage points decreased critical hit. Since I also have a ring who does the same, I do have some overlap of 7% on those two. Unlike a mining run or a construction session, it's much harder to keep track of the pet I spent while hunting. Every little factor can have a major impact in the outcome. For example, I equip a knife. This is a melee weapon, so burns durability as cost. I will test 5 runs, store all the loot per mob. The first run I wear no armor, and even the low level mobs will hit me hard. I have to fully rely on my evade and have to heal regularly. And this reflects in the end result. Healing will cost me nearly a tenth in repairs and mind essence used. The second run I equip 1 armor. I will now have 3 repairs to keep track of, as armor joins in as well. Which is not that much in comparison, as it was just 1 armor item. I still lose hard on the run, mainly due to the low loot and the decay of the blade. The third run I go full armor, 7 pieces. Nothing can even touch me at this point, and I don't need to heal at all. Which saves me a lot of money. The repairs of the armor are in full scale now, but it's much less than the healing has been in both previous runs. The fourth run I try to match the damage taken with the armor worn and only equip 5 pieces. I have to heal once, but due to good loot and minor repairs, mainly due less weapon costs, I come out with a profit. The last run I fine tune once more to ensure I don't have to heal with 6 armor pieces. And the run starts horribly on loot before I hit a pretty high one. I ended up with decent repair costs and a profit. A few things stand out in the test. A. I should have leveled Knife Fighter a lot sooner, as it's a massive boost in an attribute called Strength, which in turn, only with around 100 creatures killed, increased my carry weight capacity a whopping 3 times by 5, from 275 to 290. As a miner, this is vital for me. And the next thing that stands out, healing is costly, and runs that rely on heavy healing will be a cause for losing a lot of money. Unlike armor decay, healing is not contributing to the loot pool. This is why hunting groups often bring a dedicated healer that receives payment in front or a portion of the loot. The third thing is, armor is a key element. Having the right armor is all that matters, and don't wear more armor than you need to. The fourth thing is, creatures only drop good loot multipliers on average 1 out of 20 times. This is relatively consistent and incredibly important to rectify the average loot ranging from 32% to 150% of the input. This can be beneficial in long, consistent hunts, but can be very costly when focusing on boss fights, as they will cost a lot of ammunition. You could be lucky and have several high hits in a row, or hit nothing for 30 tries and lose thousands of pet. Since there are bosses that require 300 pet to shoot down, having 100 pet return is bleeding money. Based on this short test, you only have 5% to hit a bigger loot, therefore consistency is key. In turn, this causes me to do a 6th run with my other set, as I have been using the Ghost set for this experiment. The durability of the other set is higher, 2750 instead of 2000, but unfortunately I got myself into a fight with multiple creatures at the same time. And this is very bad for armor decay, as you get pounded 3 times more, which instantly reflected in the repair cost. Nonetheless, I still had a profit. Due to 3 runs without optimization, the 6 runs combined still turned out to have a minor loss. But nothing is what it really seems. The mobs dropped a total of 11.79 ped on animal muscle oil, with a markup of around 105%. So I can add another 60 pack, or pet cents, to my loot pool. Not to mention the amplifiers and the diluted sweat. Both I will have to save up a while to account for the market fee. And same counts for the animal muscle oil. If I can save up 100 pet, I only have to pay the fee once and will save up massively on that. Before turning these into a profit, it's not bad to have some extra money floating around. Just so you can save up those resources to make more money. A proper investment, but may require additional deposits. Another added value is your own stats. A very crude calculation would be just to divide your skills by 100 to get the pet value. That does not count for the professions, as they are an accumulation of relevant skills. For example, Knife Fighter has a whopping 140% strength. For example, Knife Fighter has 140% strength contribution, making it crazy good to skill strength. I'll leave a link in the description for that website as well. The blade I used is a quest reward anyone can obtain from Camp Icarus if my memory serves correctly. If you skill it and tier it up, it can become really powerful since it's unlimited. Of course, this is just a minor test, and much more extensive tests must be conducted by yourself to really optimize your gameplay, and the general outcome will be adjusted accordingly. Now let's get back to the swamp. The quest for Truscarons granted me 70 combat tokens in a final follow-up. 300 looks like a lot, but there is a pretty awesome event helping you out on the same island, the swamp, boasting an insane high-level boss, which is doable with 3 men or preferably 4. I will show the boss fight later in this video. Hunting robots gives a whole different kind of items, but most importantly, a whole different kind of challenge. For those guys, I really prefer to go first person. The troopers and legionaries have relatively low health, so with a long range, I can kite them without taking too much, if any, damage. If they start hitting me, I go in deep, as their melee attack is a lot weaker. The vanguards, however, they are massive and very cool to hunt. They throw massive balls that will or nearly will one-shot you, so first person and not locking aim will be required, as well as maximum range. Strafing left and right will easily dodge those balls, and if you can keep them at max range, they often prefer the ball. The laser attacks are very fast, often 2 between 1 heal. However, being at max range, or at least above 80, is definitely their weakness. A second flaw for any robot with guns is that if you shoot from behind a hill and you can only see half their body, thus aim for the top part, they can't lock on you. So for vanguards it will mean they will only throw balls. Thus means they will do no damage to you. They also drop very high tier components ranging 5 to 8 very often, which you need for tier related items. When hunting legionaries, I unlocked a challenge, a Codex challenge. The Codex challenge is the best way to level your hunting skill by far. It's relatively new to the game, so I had to get there the hard way myself, but newer players will giving a massive advantage with this. Practically free money. I choose combat reflexes because best skill in game and continue hunting. When destroying a vanguard, I get both a Codex level for the vanguard and an attribute up as well. For the vanguard I choose range damage, but I also often go for perception. The meta challenge let me upgrade one of my attributes, and those are the primary skills of your character, as they directly affect aspects of the game. For instance, strength often gives you carrying capacity and stamina increases your health. Therefore stamina first, strength as minor, often second choice. If you get your hands on a colorator, some items can be colored. They have a C behind the name, but it requires a lot of paint cans, a colorator and preferably a bleaching attachment. The more paint cans you add, the higher the chance it becomes just that bright color. For example, this white truck becomes bright yellow after adding a dozen paint cans, or close. A better example is I did bleach and color my combat wings with over 200 paint cans to get it from headache green to bright red. If you prefer to be a psionic mage, then there's Mindforce, and it's very cool. For healing it's even essential, as it has one of the best healing chips. It all starts with a pain ink implant inserter. Believe me, it hurts looking at it. and a Neo Psion 10 Mindforce implant, all obtainable from the trade terminal, or TT in the Entropia terms. This will be able to level you up to level 10, and afterwards you have to use it again to remove the 10 and insert, for example, the 20 variant. Drag the implant on the inserter and use the tool. The inserter can be sold right back to the terminal as you won't need it anymore, so no money lost on that one. The primary usage for me is the regeneration chip, a very cheap way to heal yourself and works absolutely perfect. When being together with others and dealing with a strong creature, one can heal himself while the other one shoots. Shooting will generate much more aggro, so the creature usually quickly switches to the shooting person who then can heal and repeat. There are also offensive chips, like the electric attack chip, and they come in all elements like fire and frost, but also lacerating chips for non-elemental damage. Lastly, there are utility variants, like the teleportation chip, which helps you jump a long distance depending on the level. You can use all with universal ammo, as that applies to nearly everything in game, which is obtainable from loot boxes, the store or shrapnel. The teleportation chip works with mind essence, which can be crafted, and the other chips with synthetic mind essence, which can be obtained from the trading terminal. There's also a light mind essence variant, which is used for area of effect chips. And that brings us to the free-to-play aspect of the game. To teleport, I need mind essence, but for that I need vibrant sweat. This is obtained through sweating, which every player can do freely with the VSE tool in their inventory. It's extracting sweat from a creature and sells for around 1 to 1.6 pet per 1000. Overall not hard to do, as there are sweating groups all over. One of the most well-known spots to sweat is Boreas, where you're sure to find players you can join. And a great way of skilling one of the best skills in game, evade. Evade and dodge are the primary combat reflexes a player can learn by just getting hit, and it's massively important, as not getting hit is no damage, so no heal, so no damage to armor, so eco perfect. Evade is used against melee and dodge is used against guns. As for making money, it's 16 cents for 1000, which can take up to an hour. So a regular job and then depositing would be a lot more fruitful, but if you can make friends and build up your fortune this way, we all start with nothing. You can also try find fruit and dung, which sell quite well, but you will need a lot. They are hard to find, but I often find them in mining strafing runs. I would from time to time, especially in open areas, turn the camera just behind me and see them much easier this way. And last mining run I did, I found 2 times Bombardo, 1 time Peplon and 1 common dung. The fruits I found sell for 2 to 3 pet and it just costed me 15 minutes. They have a tiny visible area, so you need to be on top of it. It does encourage exploring a bit, so when you are exploring and looking for new teleporters, keep your eye on the ground and try walking through open areas. I had an extensive chat with a society member who asked me a few things about crafting out of the blue, which I actually really enjoyed. I am in no way an expert, but always appreciate interaction on this matter as we both learn a lot. This player built up an extensive bankroll for 1500 pet while being free to play, which is commendable and also proves with the proper preparation and research you can successfully invest in Entropia without depleting your credit card. There are very good beginner quests and new players gain massive advantages on old school players. The Codex, the plethora of quests and a lot of free stuff. And this time is indeed the best time to start playing Entropia. If you want to invest and start paying, you should get yourself started with the starter set. You get all the tools you need to start hunting, weapons, armor, amplifiers, almost free or as low as $5. As even with the platinum pack, you get almost the full value of the pack as universal ammo. The gun with the attachments has high efficiency as well. This means you pretty much bought Entropia as the cost of any other game coming out these days. But first take your time, go through the game, play it for a week or a month to get familiar and make your decision then. Absorb knowledge. This game is massive and there's a lot to do and there's no way I can put it all in this guide. And then decide what your focus will be. A miner, a crafter or a hunter or even all 3 of them. Don't expect heavy globals right off the bat, but just try to stay even in cash flow while still increasing your skills, which will be your profit. Just asking to buy sweat will get you the attention of a player quickly, if you offer a decent price. And I usually don't have to wait long. I try to save up low guns or something nice from mobs I find to surprise them when buying sweat. It still hasn't gotten anyone who wants me as a mentor, where I have much to offer in getting them on their way, but one day. I have 2 disciples, but both haven't graduated yet. But my sincere hope is one day I help at least one graduate. Graduating brings rewards for them and also for me as mentor. Community in any MMO is a vital key to keep players immersed and active. A few weeks ago I went to Arcadia with the Society to Hunt, which was a great adventure because space. Yes, Entropia has a vast and dangerous space with multiple planets, each full of treasure. There are 2 ways to get to and through space. First way is you need an aircraft. They cost some money, but overall pretty cheap. Within the 50 pet range is possible. This will also allow you to fly all over the map, with the exception of some event zones. And secondly, you need a space thruster, which is required to go through space. And then you just fly up until you see the interplanetary travel message. The second way is through space agencies. It will cost you some, like 25 ped, but they summon you to a massive mothership and you can be guaranteed to arrive safely. It's still advised to bring an airship or someone with an airship with you, however, to go from the space station to the planet, unless you've already been there before and activated the teleporter. That little bit is dangerous, as space is lootable PvP. And I got a friend who lost a whole lot of items getting attacked. But new planets is new adventures, new quests and often unique items. Like the underground in Arcadia, where mining is guaranteed to have large nodes, even without amplifier, but with a much lower find chance. We took a space agency to get Arcadia, and since we had a lot of newer players, the agent brought us to visit special sites as well, like the DSEC, which gave us a lot of free powerful items and buffs. There are so many items in game, it can be overwhelming. A great example are the player shops. For example, Port Atlantis Mall. You could simply spend hours shopping and looking around in the plethora of custom designed shops where real players offer wares you may never find at the auction. If you're looking for something you can't find in the auction, make sure to take your time, just look around, it's free. Always do check the market value, however, so you don't pay a much higher price than you should. What is mostly intriguing is to see and find items that may not even drop anymore or haven't been sold for years. I like to go for amplifiers as they are often cheaper than in an auction, but do keep the shop fee in mind. For my BC30, a limited amp would boost its efficiency through the roof, but a careful choice is recommended, as with a minimum damage of 25 I must make sure not to buy a higher amp, and with the amp I can boost the efficiency to over 70%, which is very good. Later previous night, my amplifier crafter mentioned that he was not ready for the BC30 yet, so I had to switch things around. Since I now had 6 BC30s, I decided to put at least 4 of those on the market. But I couldn't get my BC25s out anymore, since they were already bits on those. So my only option is to craft some more. Not that that's too bad, as the BC30s have a higher markup anyway. Almost 12 ped, which is almost the cost of a single gun. I can't put too many on there as well, as you notice with the Finder F101 I completely swamped the market. I sold a few, sure, but with the 1.50 markup I was slightly above the average sale cap, and now I lost 50 cents per Finder as they will return to me unsold soon. Having more than 3 on the market is thus a risk, but as long as the migration events are ongoing I will be fine. It's great to see all auctions are actively interacted with, however, meaning my customers seem happy with my finely crafted products. I did some analyzing on the previous day mining, and the zero tax area was barely dropped any minerals. So I had to rush to the PvP zone, which was visibly more barren, to correct this and kind of fix the run that way. But before I switched to minerals, I threw 5 times a probe on both minerals and energy matter, and 4 of them hit energy matter. The zone is very lush, purple and flowery, and I deducted that maybe I shouldn't hope for minerals there at all. And I decided to do a test. Level 2 amplifier mining run there, just 50 to 60 probes on energy matter. That place turned out to be a Force Nexus gold mine, as it had a very high hit rate and a lot of it. which combined with the vibrant sweat would become the high markup mind essence, merely a side hustle for me, may heavy amp that place later. When it becomes evening, it's time to burn some of that hard-earned money. Often my friends join me for events. Tonight we first took out some robots, which brought in the first hunting globals as well. They become a lot less rare when you grow stronger. And then we went to the event zone, the spawning pools, on the same island I've been before. Waves of Treskrons will spawn, each level increasing stronger with in the end a strong boss, over 200 levels. It takes a lot of time to take down. Most of the times it will have a guaranteed high loot and global, but it takes a lot of money to take it down as well. So events like this can give or take a lot. Be sure to prepare thoroughly and hunt as economically as possible. Bosses like this in similar events will be your best chance to hit really high rewards or your first Hall of Fame reward, but best bring your society or some friends or you will suffer alone. If you wonder where to hunt, make sure to check out the events page. Global instances often offer challenges with event-specific rewards, and player-owned land areas may also offer rewards, often through endorsed third parties like Entropia Live, which you can use to check out events or to check you or your team's globals. Entropia Universe is still actively developed, especially planet Calypso, the main planet in the system. New instances and events are added or updated regularly. All other planets are actually purchased by other people or companies, and they have employed their own dev teams to keep it up to date. Before visiting another planet, you would have to download this in the launcher or wait for it to download it automatically once you get there. For Calypso, this ensures a steady and reliable stream of updates, especially graphical. For other planets, you will find a great diversity, but for some cases this may mean a reduced player count, which can result in item scarcity. Items can still be bought from the other planets, but will come with an additional transport cost. With the dangers and added cost of space travel, especially new players may find it challenging to visit other planets, especially when trying to come back as inventories are split between planets. The upside, however, is many challenging adventures, and especially places like Rocktropia are a sight to behold and hold a special place in my heart as I found my first ever mining Hall of Fame there, way back in 2015. The interface surely has changed a lot back then. The interface in Entropia is fully customizable, a thing of beauty many games could learn from, as you often need to rely on mods to do the same for other MMOs. Through the interface options you can add more action bars, as well as show your location in the radar UI, a mandatory requirement for mining log. From the action menu, using the UI edit mode button, you can then drag all actions you need to the action bars, and the same method applies to your items from your inventory. Having a game that has been on the market for decades, it also solid proof that the system works and investments are worth it. Since recent updates, all players can now benefit from the income of newly added regions. You can buy your own shop or estate through the auction, where you buy the corresponding deed. The prices can be steep, but provide you your own place where you can store or sell the spoils of your adventures. Another way to get passive income is investing through the Entropia Exchange. Buying holdings in a region will result in weekly revenue. I myself have some minor holdings in New Treasure Islands, and just as in real life, based on the value of the holdings, you can subtract your own share weekly. It may take a long time to get enough balance to outweigh your purchase prices, but don't forget, if the prices of your holdings rise, you can simply sell them for the extra profit. The more stakes you hold, the more you can withdraw weekly, essentially being able to play for free this way, if you invest enough first. The money can later be taken back by selling your shares. If I store my money in shares, it can look like a loss, but in reality, I still end up with a near positive total. For example, New Treasure Island sits currently at 7.98 per unit price. If in a year it would double my investment, as you see the older trusts have much higher value. Some items may seem abandoned, but it's important to hold on to them, as they may become valuable later. In the end, by keeping track of your balance, even when it seems like you may have lost a lot, you can still turn a profit, do shares and more. For example, in the last day, although I've been hunting above my budget to make this video and a 797 pad loss was recorded this day, it actually was because I just bought the shares. And my total win-loss still shows plus. If I do nothing and just wait another day, the remaining of the auctions will come pouring in and I will be at a sturdy profit. Not to mention the Vigilante set I bought this month, which costed me nearly 1000 pad markup. The main deposits I made was to have more money around for saving up smaller stacks and trading materials. Of course, in your money tracking sheet, you can update the shares value based on their current value. I will leave a sample sheet in the description where you just put your own deposits, pad balance and shares balance each day. That's just 3 inputs. This guide has been a bit longer than I was hoping for, but there is so much to do in Entropia. I hope you learned something from it, and thank you for watching.